If you have zero experience with hacking or coding, this is the perfect video for you. So you want to go from a noob to a hacker in one video? I'm going to be giving the most comprehensive tutorial possibly to get you started on your hacking journey. You'll find that it isn't really that hard, but also, it isn't like those hacking scenes in movies where random code is just flowing down the terminal screens. So let's jump straight in. First off, you must have a Linux operating system like Kali Linux or Ubuntu. For the purposes of this video, any of them work. The most important part is really just your terminal. You can even use Mac or Windows. I'm actually running Linux on a virtual machine right now on my Windows computer for this tutorial, and I'm running Ubuntu, and I'm using VMware as my software. And if you're on Mac, don't worry because you already have the commands built in to follow along with the tutorial. And for Windows, don't fret, it's super easy to set up Linux, and I'll quickly guide you through how to do it right now. So if you guys already have Linux installed, you guys can skip forward to this next part of the tutorial. Now, for many of you guys who are still probably running Windows 10, you might not have Linux yet. No problem, I'll show you guys how to get Linux extremely quickly. So first, the first method, which I think is the quickest, is by just installing the Terminal app from your Microsoft Store. So I'm going to look up Terminal, and the Windows Terminal app should show up, which I already actually installed. But you guys should be able to click install and just download it. And now you can, if you open the app, or you just click your Windows search bar and type in Terminal, you should be able to open the app, which is just a better interface for your terminal. So you might think at first, what's the difference between this and just opening like command shell or Windows PowerShell or command prompt by yourself? Well, it actually allows you to integrate other terminals as well. So for this tutorial, you guys can use Kali Linux. So you can look up Kali Linux at Microsoft Store once again, and you can go here and you can just click install. I already have it installed. And basically, once you install it, it makes it able to be used through this terminal. So now if I just switch this to Kali Linux, I open up a Kali Linux terminal. So I have all the functions as if I was on a Kali Linux system, but it's integrated into my Windows computer. So I can type ls, which is a Linux command. I have config, which is a Linux command. All the above. So this is the first easiest method, and it has all the commands necessary to follow along with the tutorial. But this is not sustainable, as sometimes you do need access to a full Linux machine, just not for this tutorial. But don't worry, I'll quickly guide you guys through how to set up your own virtual machine on your computer running Linux, which is much more sustainable. So it's between VMware and VirtualBox usually, which are the two most popular softwares, but I would highly recommend VMware as it's much more customizable. Both are free though, so it should be fine. But first you want to go to the VMware download website. So you can go to here and click download VMware. I'll leave this link as the first link in my description, and you can click download now, which should start the downloader. And I'll click just download here, and it should start. And I already have it downloaded, so I really do not need to continue downloading it. But once you download it, you just want to double click on it, and your screen should look like this. And you want to just click next, and then just keep clicking next through all the steps, no matter how many you have. Maybe it's 1, 2, I'm not sure. And then you just click finish, and then you're all good to go. And now you need to download the operating system, because all you have right now is VMware. You need to actually install the system on VMware. So we're going to use Kali Linux, which is the most popular and most useful operating system for all hacking purposes and cybersecurity purposes. So the Kali Linux is actually very compatible with VMware. So if you just go to their website, which I linked in the description as my second link, you can click on download for Kali Linux. And once you click on download, like you see on my screen, select virtual machines. Once you select virtual machines, it gives you the options for a bunch of pre-built operating system files. So you just want to click download, and for VMware, obviously we're doing this one, so just click download over here, and it should start a pretty fat download for 2.9 gigabytes. And I already installed it, so I'm gonna just pause it here, and you guys can pause the video until your thing is done downloading as well. But if you don't, that's fine as well. But now that you have the 7Z file downloaded, all you need to do is open up, or first you want to extract your 7Z file, because 7Z is a compressed file, and you should just extract it. Just click OK like you see on this screen, and then you want to click on VMware. So you're going to open your app VMware. So I'll open that on my computer as well for a player. So I'm opening VMware 17 Workstation Player, which should look just like your screen. And then you want to just click open, and then once you click open, you just want to select any of you want to select the extracted file. So you should have the file extracted from the 7Z file, and just double click it, select it, and you're good to go. And after that, it should look like this on your actual screen. You just want to click open, and then you can just click play virtual machine, and there you go, your system starts. And make sure, if you're using this method, your username and password, your username is Kali, and your password is also Callie. So I'll just type it on my screen real quick. Username is Callie and password is Callie. So this is a default login, just pretty easy to remember as well. And it doesn't really matter that much since it's your virtual machine. You shouldn't be storing like that important stuff on it either. But yeah, so I actually have Workstation Pro. So it's the exact same. I just have like slightly more features, but for the purpose of the tutorial, shouldn't matter as well. So I'm gonna just log into my Linux machine, my Ubuntu machine. So like I said, Kali Linux Ubuntu doesn't matter for this tutorial. And I'm gonna walk you guys through the basics of using the terminal as well as actually doing 14 hacking challenges, which are gonna be very quick, easy, and I promise you guys will not have trouble understanding it. So basically the challenge that we're going to be tackling is called OverTheWire. So they're actually a very comprehensive website that provides a bunch of public challenges for anyone to just do. So this is my Linux machine and I entered full screen. So I'm just going to type in OverTheWire. OverTheWire. So now you should go over here and you should see Bandit. So Bandit is the name of the game that we're actually going to be doing. So you guys can read through this if you want, pause the video, read through it, whatever. But we're going to hop straight in because I think actually doing it hands-on is the fastest way to learn. So Bandit level 0 says, the goal of this level is for you to log into the game using SSH. The host needs you to connect to whatever this is on port 2220. So basically it wants us to connect to this server on the specific port on the server that they've opened up for us. So SSH basically allows us to enter the machine remotely. So you should already have it, and if you don't have it, it's very easy to install, and it should pop up a command that literally tells you the command to enter to install it. But I already have SSH installed, as you can see, and you guys should probably have it installed by default already, so no worries. And the first step you want to do is SSH. So they say that they want us to SSH into bandit.labs.overthewire.org using their specific username, which is bandit0, and their password, which is also bandit0. So this is the command that we're going to use. So if you guys don't know how to use any command, you could just do SSH and then do --help, or not for SSH, I guess. But as you can see, this is our usage, and what we're looking for right now is port. It gave us the port, so -p is our port, and then our username as well. So I'll show you guys how to enter the command. So we want to do SSH first to initialize the command, and then you want to do bandit0, which is the username, so kind of like an email. So you have the username of the email and then the domain. So our domain here would be the one they provided for us, which would be bandit.labs.overthewire.org, and then we want to add that -p and then the port number, which is 2220. Now once we click enter, we should wait. It should say, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Make sure to click yes. And then there, you're in. And now it's going to ask you for the password. And obviously they give us the password, which is bandit0. So bam, you're officially in another machine remotely. So this is the first basic step to using this. So all the commands that we've covered so far is literally just using SSH. So now we can go to the next level. So let's see, once logged in, go to level 1 page. Let's go to the level 1 page, and you guys should be following along so far, hopefully. So all we've done is enter one command so far. And now we're going to learn a few new commands in this next level, which says the password for the next level is stored in a file called readme located in the home directory. What does all this even mean? So it says it's stored in a file. In Linux, obviously there is a graphic user interface where you can just click on file, like similar to Windows, like File Explorer, whatever. But we don't like to do it that way, because a lot of the times when you're compromising systems or entering new systems, you're only going to be able to compromise them through your terminal. You're not going to have full like GUI control of the desktop to use File Manager. So you want to make sure you know how to navigate files and folders using your terminal. So the command to list out all the files in your current directory is called ls. So you're typing ls and just click enter, and it lists out the files over here. So if I was to open my own terminal over here, and I could type ls2, it would output all the files that are in my downloads folder. So similarly to that, we could do that in this Bandit machine as well. So we just did ls, and it has readme, and it says the password is stored in the file. Now how do we actually access the file? Well, we can do cat. Cat basically just prints out all the plain text from the actual file. So our file name is readme, no file extension, no .txt, none of that, just readme. So we're gonna do cat readme, and it should output our password. So we want to copy this, hold on to this. This is going to be the flag, and for each of the level flags, this is what it's going to basically look like. So next, we already have the password. Easy, right? Easy peasy so far. We've so far done 3 commands: ssh ls, which lists all the files in the directory, and cat readme, which prints out the plain text of the file. So now we want to get to the next level. So it says log into bandit1 using ssh. So if you guys remember SSH, we want to do a very similar command, but this time we're logging to bandit1, not bandit0. So you can click your arrow key if you guys have it on your keyboard, click up, and it should give you the previous command that you issued. So this is the previous command we issued, and all we need to do is change this into 1, change it from bandit0 to bandit1, and then we want to click enter. Now, once we click enter, it should prompt us for our password. And we already copied our password previously, which is right here. So make sure you want to click paste and then enter. And then it should do its magic. And yeah, we're already in. So we're already in the system. I just typed in ls to just check my current directory. And as you can see, new system, readme is no longer here. So let's click to the next level. So level 1 to level 2. So now it says the password for the next level is stored in a file called dash, located in the home directory. Now you might first look at this and be like, oh, easy, right? I'll just do cat dash, right? Well, that's not actually gonna work, because dash is a special character which isn't just recognized as plain text. So what you can actually do is do cat and add a period and a slash and then the file name in front. This is so that Linux recognizes the dash as the folder or file name and not just a random character for a parameter or anything. So if you guys ever encounter a file that you might in a capture the flag or in a hacking competition, this might actually save your life if you don't have no clue how to open the file. So just type this and then you should get the flag, and by this time we see the patterns, we know that this is the password already, and we're done. So let's see the next level. And obviously for hacking in real life as well as CTF challenges, the step-by-step is not always going to be provided for you. So we want to use our intuition to say, how do we get to the next level? Well, from level 0, it was bandit 0. Level 1, it was bandit 1. So obviously we want to SSH into bandit 2 now. So we can do actually, let's just use our arrow key to our advantage. Arrow key once, and it types in our previous command. All we want to do is switch the username to bandit 2 from bandit 1 now. So now we should be in, and then we have our password, which is our previous flag, and let's just click enter in it, and we should be in. All right, awesome. Now let's move to the next level. And it says this password for the next file is stored in a file called spaces in this file name, which is located in the home directory. So this is another brain teaser. So we can click ls and we can obviously see that this is the file name, but we can't just do spaces in the file name. That's probably the instinct, right? Because cat would recognize those all as separate files. So what can we do? If you guys are familiar with coding or just even English at all, if you just add a string around it like you would, if you add these apostrophes around it, cat would recognize this input as one string. So this would be the whole username. So not username, the whole file name. So we can click enter and it would successfully print out our flag. Easy peasy. Let's keep speeding through this. We got our password. Let's move on to the next level. So obviously we're going from level 2 to level 3. So let's go bandit 3. And let's enter the password. Just right click and paste it, or control V. And bam, we're in. So let's just first scan it out. We have ls and we see in here. Interesting. So is in here a file or is it a folder? So let's actually go to level 3, level 4. So we can do file in here. File, the command file followed by whatever file name it is, just tells you what type of file it is. And we find out that it's actually a directory, not a file. Interesting. So how do we change directories? Directories are literally just folders. So if you guys are familiar with Windows, your file explorer, downloads would be a directory, for example. Documents is a separate directory, and right now we're in the home directory, as you can see. So we want to change directories, but how do we do that via the command line? We can use a simple command called cd, which stands for change directory. It's one of the most basic commands that you guys will literally need everywhere. So we want to cd, change directory, into the file, into the folder, which is called in here. So we just cd in here, bam, we're in. Let's do ls. Oh, we're seeing nothing, right? It says there's a hidden file in the in here directory. Well, when you see nothing, files can actually be easily hidden. So what you want to get around this is do ls, listing all our files in directory, -al. This parameter basically just allows it to it shows you all the hidden files as well. So as you can see, bam, we see a file called .hidden now. So what are we going to do with .hidden? We want to actually get the password, which is stored inside it thanks to the level's description. So cat.hidden, easy peasy. Here we got the password again in plain text. Let's move on. So we can go to bandit 4 and then let's see from bandit 4 to 5. Awesome. So let's just switch our username into this and we should be good to go. And then we can just paste our password into here. And you guys might be like, well, this is kind of basic, right? Like if I hack someone's system, all I know so far is how to browse through their files. That's basic, right? This is boring. Well, these are all extremely crucial, actually. And if you guys actually do any ethical hacking or red teaming challenges or capture the flags, you guys will find that these commands are necessary, and especially knowledge of the Linux terminal is necessary, which you're getting good hands-on memory of right now. So we're in bandit 4 now, and we're informed that the password is stored in an only human readable file in the in here directory. In here directory again, let's type ls to verify all our files and directories. We see that in here is here. Let's do our command from last time, which was cd. So let's do cd in here, and we should be in. And it says it's stored in the only human readable file. Interesting. So we'll do ls over here real quick. And we'll see that, oh, there's a bunch of files. Which one am I going to do? I'm not going to go through doing this, this. I mean, you could do this, but in real context where there's probably going to be thousands of files, you don't want to go through all of them like manually. So there's a simple command that we can do. I already introduced the file command previously, which allows you to check the file type of it. And all we're doing right now is adding the asterisk in. So we want to // again so that our command recognizes the asterisk as the parameter. And asterisk, all that does is select all the files in the directory. So let's do this, and we should get the output for all the files in the directory for the file command. So as you can see, even if you don't know what this means, you should use your basic inference skills to see that this is an anomaly, and it is probably the only one. But aside text basically just means it's in plain readable text, and this data I have no clue what it is, and let's not get into it. But yeah, now we have this file, right? So if we try to do cat-file 07, we actually see an error because once again there's a dash in the front, and it's from the first level or the second level. I already forgot which one it was. It cannot recognize special characters like the dash, right? So we want to do the same thing that we did on the beginning, which is just this -file 07, the dot and the slash, and bam, we got the flag, we got the password for the next level. So let's exit and let's move on to the next level where it's bandit 5. So we should be in. Let's paste our password. Let's get in. And we're breezing through this really quickly, and we're almost already halfway through. And by the end of it, your knowledge will exponentially increase about what to do. And it'll actually help your intuition a lot, which is very important where you're actually getting into new systems that you have no idea what's going on in. So intuition is extremely important. So you can do cd in here, and I didn't even actually check the level, but we just want to always scan for the files, right? So the password for the next file is stored in a file somewhere under the in here directory. And obviously I already found in here by typing ls, which is probably the first command you should always do when you're in a machine. And it has the following properties: human readable, 1033 bytes in size, and not executable. So I accidentally just full screen that. Okay, so let's do ls again, which is the first command we do when we're in a new directory. And we have 19 or 20 files that we do not want to go through. So we can actually utilize a command called find. So it's kind of equivalent to your search function that you do in your file explorer, or even your Linux, Mac, whatever folder, whatever you type here to find your file name. It's the same, but it's even better because it's more flexible and you can actually look for certain traits. So right now I am trying to find whichever one has these traits. So let's do the 1033 bytes in size trait, because we can actually search it by the size of it. So all you want to do is type find dot dash size. Sorry, I just burped. And then the file size, which is 1033 bytes. So you can type 1033C. Now just click enter, and it should search through all of these, and I found that .file2. And it turns out these are directories as well. I did not even know that because I didn't really read through this. I'm guessing it doesn't tell you either. But yeah, these are directories as well. I don't know how I didn't realize that, but it finds it through the directories. So if you're on one level, on a higher level, like in your home directory, it can actually find all the files that you want to find, even in your downloads or documents folder. So I found it within the maybe here 07 folder and in the point file to file. God, these words are really messing me up. But yeah, let's cd into maybe here 7. So maybe here 07. And let's ls just to verify it's here. And we already found that it was in dot file 2. So that's pretty interesting. So we can just do dot file 2. And it doesn't show up here immediately. So maybe it's here. Yeah, okay. So it's even a hidden file. So we're really putting together concepts from previous levels. But yeah, it shows dot file 2, which is a hidden file. So let's just do cat dot file 2. And bam. Okay, we got it. So this is our flag. This level was definitely more interesting than the previous ones, just putting it together. But let's go to level 6 now that we got our password. So let's go to Bandit 6 and let's paste in our password over here and click enter. Oh, I don't think I pasted it. Paste it again. All right. So, oh, denied. Hold on. We got the right flag over here. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to make sure that I'm pasting it correctly. And then let's go bandits. Oh, are we bandit 7? Oh, we are bandit 7 right now. Oh, no, we're bandit 6. Wait, what? Okay. Well, let me type this in one more time. This is an unexpected error. And paste this. And this should work. Okay, yeah. It got me scared for a second. I was like, what is going on? But now we're back in here. And it says the password for the next level is stored somewhere on the server and has all the following properties. Own my user, bandit 7. Own my group, bandit 6. 33 bytes in size. Blah, blah, blah. So we want to filter out all our files by all 3 of these parameters. So we can, once again, just do this. And we can just do like size 33C, which is the bytes. But this is way too much. So we really want to filter it down. So we can't just look by bytes anymore. We got to look by all 3 of these. But how do we implement the find function to include parameters for who actually owns the files? This is something you probably cannot do in your actual graphic interface file explorer. So this is much more useful. Basically, first we want to do find slash, and then we want to do dash user bandit 7, which shows that we want to make sure that it's owned by the user bandit 7. And then we want to make sure it's owned by the group bandit 6. And then we want to make sure the size is obviously 33C. So now that we click enter, it goes through a bunch of these files. And it looks like a lot of them are permission denied. So we're going to unfortunately have to scroll up a little bit until we find one. Let's see. Permission denied, permission denied, permission denied. No such file directory. And oh, what the? Oh, okay. Well, we found it right here. It's dash var dash lib.dpkg.info. bandit7.password. So this is clearly our file that we've been looking for. The rest of them are obviously just there to throw us off for this level. So let's just cat it, right? So we just want to find the password, cat, and then let's just paste it over here. Bam, we got the flag. All right, so we'll move on to level 7 now. So a lot of these are actually just intuition, and I think syntax wise, or like when I was learning how to hack, when I was like first starting off, learning just Linux terminal in general, I didn't need to do any course or anything. It was just YouTube videos like these and really just following along. And like when I encounter an issue, I'll just look it up. That really helped me get through all of them. But yeah, let's move to level 7 and let's do paste. And our first command we're going to use obviously ls. We see data.txt. That's pretty interesting. Let's check out what the level says. It says the password is stored in the file data.txt next to the word millionth. So I'm assuming if we print this out, it's going to be a ton of words. So yeah, we don't want to look for that, huh? We don't want to scroll through all of those. So we can do a simple command to really just filter it out. And we do cat once again. And now, before we do it, we want to use a pipe. So it should be the shift command, shift backslash right above your enter key, or is where it should be. It's not I, it's like basically just a line down. It's just taller. But I get that confused sometimes when looking at other people's screens. But then we just do grep millionth, which just filters all the text out within it by millionth before outputting it. So it basically just filters our output. And you can do this with any command. You can mix it up too, but we'll get into that later. So we can just click enter, and it shows millionth, and then this is in the same line as millionth clearly. So this is easy. Let's get this password and let's move on to Bandit 8. Okay, so let's paste this over here and then let's go to level 8 to 9. This says the password for the next level is stored in file data.txt and is the only line of text that occurs only once. Okay, well, we can just use a command as well, but the way I think of it at first, like initially reading this, I thought that we could just build like a Python program or something to do it, which you can, but obviously using your Linux terminal is much more useful than Python coding everything and making scripts. So yeah, let's do ls data.txt. We cat it. Yep, it's huge and it's even harder to like decipher this time. So now we can use a command called strings. So strings literally prints out the strings in a file, and this is useful when you're especially looking at huge files that have like a lot of unreadable content. So it's different than cat. So let's do strings, and then we're gonna put your file name, which is data.txt. But if you enter it, obviously all this is a string, right? It's all text, so it doesn't really filter out anything. So we need to switch it up a little bit by not using strings, but I think cat works equally as well, as I don't actually see any patterns with this. So cat should work, and we can do cat.data.txt, and then we want to do the pipe again with sort, and then unique, but it's like cut off into 4 letters, and -u. So what this does is basically it first outputs the data of it, and then it sorts the data, sorts all the text in it, and then the output is then piped through the unique command, which basically just outputs whatever is the unique line in it, and is yeah, only repeated once. So we find out that it is this thing. Okay, cool, now we got it. And I'm actually wondering if it should work as the same thing if we did strings instead of cat, but there really is no use of doing strings. You should usually just do cat, but yeah, it's the same thing in this case because it's all just plain text, but we can use cat because it's just simpler to use. So we got our flag, so let's exit and let's go into Bandit 9. So Bandit 9, and we should be loading, and let's paste our password. Alright, awesome. So let's go to Bandit 9 to 10. It says the next level, the password stored in the file with data.txt in one of the few human readable strings preceded by several equal characters. Okay, so what we're looking for right now is just equal sign characters, and it says several, so that's pretty interesting. So let's first ls, and it's in, okay, it's obviously data.txt. Let's first cat it out to see what we're working with, and yep, you definitely cannot read any of this stuff. So we obviously, okay, I actually see equal sign over here, but we want to basically somehow get the strings out of it. So this is where the strings command comes handy, because we don't want to deal with all this other stuff. So let's do strings data.txt, and let's see what we get. So these are the actual like strings that are not these question mark characters that our terminal does not recognize. So now obviously there is still a lot of content here, and you can see the equal sign is, we can already see one equal sign. I can see another one, but if we want to do it command wise, if we don't want to go through it manually, we want to do strings.data.txt to first filter out the strings, and then pipe the output through grep, which filters the output by text and by the equal sign. So let's click enter, and as you can see, we see a couple of these. Okay, so our flag is obviously right here, and like it said several in the level, so I think that we can actually just do like grep like 4. I think 4 is like a common consensus for 3 or 4 is a common consensus for several. But yeah, it says the password is G7 whatever this is. So yay, we got the password. So let's copy it and let's move on to Bandit 10. Bandit 10. Oops. Alright, and let's paste our password, and we're almost done. We just have few more levels to do. So let's go to ls again just to see, and let's actually go to the next level to actually see what's going on here. It says the password for the next file is stored in data.txt, which contains base 64 encoded data. So this is just a type of encryption. The goal of encryption is to turn plain text into unreadable text. So maybe if you guys watch like the Imitation Game or something, but encryption is a very important part of cybersecurity, as well as especially used by like military and stuff. If you guys watch Imitation Game, the movie, it's all about the World War and how like Alan Turing decrypted or cracked the Enigma cipher, which was used to like it was just used to encrypt all the German communications. So encryption is definitely very important, and especially for privacy wise, because we want to send messages or we want to be able to receive data that we don't want attackers viewing. So let's first do cat.data.txt, and yep, it's all encrypted in base 64. It's unreadable, but it's actually really easy because there's a command called base 64 that we want to implement into our we want to pipe into our output. So let's first output for data.txt, and my dogs are barking. It's really distracting me, but we can cat data.txt, which should have the plaintext output, and then we pipe it through base 64 -- decode. And once we do this, it should filter the output and decode. It should first send the output to this command, and then this command will apply whatever it does on the plaintext output. So bam, we base 64 decoded it, and we got this. There's also base 64 decoders online if you guys want to do that, but obviously when we have base 64 as a command on our computers, really not necessary. So let's exit and let's go into Bandit 11. So let's paste this over here. And all right, cool. So now that we're in Bandit 11, let's see the challenge description. It says the password for the next level is stored in data.txt, where all lowercase a to z and uppercase a to z letters have been rotated by 13 positions. So that means that all the characters that fit these requirements have been shifted by 13 positions. So this is pretty interesting. Let's first ls, and it should be in data.txt. So let's first get a glimpse of what the image looks like. Okay, they've been shifted, they've been rotated by 13 positions. So the characters should be the same, it's just that they're all shifted. So we can actually do a command. Let's pipe it again, since cat gives us our plaintext output, and we can use tr. So tr is a great command for filtering it and applying the shifts. So we're going to do a to z, and then the capital A to Z as well. So we want to get lowercase and uppercase in here. And then we want to do n-za-mn-za-m. So I believe N is the 13th letter of the alphabet. Just to make sure, let's look it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5. I'm not tripping. Okay. Yeah, so M is the 12th and N is the 13th. So we want to make those as our stoppers over here. So we're basically just applying it to all lowercase and uppercase. And then we want to shift them all so that A becomes N, Z becomes M, etc. Well, actually, no, A becomes M and then Z becomes N. But yeah, I'm probably mixing you guys up with all these letters. That sounds so similar. But bam, we got our password. And let's move on to level 12. So we're on 12 now. Let's paste our password over here. And we should be in. And let's click on level 12. And it says the password is stored in a file data.txt, which is a hex dump. So a hex dump is literally just a hex data of a file that has been repeatedly compressed. You don't got to understand like the inner workings of how this stuff works. You just got to know basically how to decompress it. So for this level, it may be helpful to create a directory under -temp, which you can work using mkdir. So they give us a command, which is great. Mkdir stands for make directory. So yeah, and they even give us an example for what we want to do. So we should ls first, and there should be we see data.txt. Okay, yep, and we obviously cannot read that because that is all hex dump data. Do ls-al, nothing else in here. All right, so we can make a directory called temp first, or directory permission denied, -temp, and then we don't want to do my name 123, I guess. So we can just do any name we want. We just do hex dump. It says, oh, the file actually exists. Okay, well, let's do hello. I did not know that existed. -hello. Okay, file exists. Okay, let's do ls cd/temp/hello. Oh, okay, so it actually already exists over here. And we can see data.txt and all this stuff that's already here. So I guess we change it to a different name. So make sure we're back in our home directory by typing pwd cd home. And we're back in our directory. So pwd prints out the current directory, so print working directory. But what the heck? Okay, I think we're in bandit 12, right? ls, yeah, okay, we're in bandit 12. Just making sure. Yeah, that was good. That was getting pretty confusing right there. But let's make it mkdir/temp/ a random file name that they wouldn't even have. Okay, so yeah, I can't believe that hello and what do you call hexdump were both already existing. But let's do mkdir/temp/wis54 random folder name. Just make sure there's an overlap with the previous ones, and then let's cd into it real quick. So cd54 ls, make sure nothing's in here, which should be since we just created it. Awesome. And now we can check the file of data.txt. It says cannot open. So I guess this is kind of confusing. Oh, it says copy the data file. I did not read that. So we need to copy the data file first. So let's go back to cd home/bandit 12 ls, and then let's copy the data file. So cp is it's copy. It's the command for copy, and then we want to do the file name, and then we do the folder, which is wis54, I believe. So all we just did was copy this file into our new directory that we created. So let's go to here, and then ls. So be sure to always read the instructions. I think I rushed this a little too much, but now that we're in here, it says rename it using mv as well. Okay, I don't think we need to do that, but not yet. But first, let's get the file.data.txt, because we want to verify that it is a CCII text. Okay, that works. And we use a command called xxt, which basically reads the data, and we can output it into a new file called data1. So now we can check the file type of data1. So all we did right now was take the data from data.txt that we did not know what was going on, and we compressed it into data1. And let's see, data1 gz compressed data was data2.bin, which was last modified, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we can change the file name of data1 into data2 as it should suggest, and make sure to make sure that the file extension is .gz, which is a compressed format. And this way you can use gzip to actually extract it and do whatever you want with it. So mb is the command we use when we want to change the file name. So mb of the original file, and then of the file that we're changing into. So let's click enter, and now if we do ls, we should have, yeah, data2.gz. Awesome. Now we can use gzip, which is the whole point of turning it into a .gz file, which is to gzip -d and then type our actual file name in. Okay. So let's decompress it. -d stands for decompress, by the way. So gzip -d, and let's ls again. And bam, we decompress this compressed gzip file into data2. So let's check data2. And we can see that it's bzip2 compressed data, and the block size is 900K. So we need to rename the file again and provide it with a more proper bzip2 extension. So this is actually getting pretty complex. So let's rename the file as data3. Okay, let's try data3. So we already have mv2 data, which is good. We're not done compressing it yet. As you can see, we still have a couple layers to go through. So let's do mv data2 into data3.bz2. So now we're using bz2 because now we can use, it tells us bzip2. So we want to turn this into a bz2 file so we can use bzip to actually extract it. So let's do this. Let's ls, and we should see that the file name has changed. Same file. We just renamed it into a bz2 file, and now we want to do bzip2 and then decompress data3.bz2. So I think it's pretty interesting that this challenge is making us use like a couple different decompression tools. But yeah, -d is the same parameter for it again. bzip2 is the name of obviously bzip, and then -d, which is decompress, and then our file name. So let's click enter here, and let's check if we're done yet. So let's do file data3, and it is still compressed, and this time it's compressed using gzip again. But no worries, because we already know how this is. We already did gzip decompression once, so let's do the same thing again. It says it was originally data4.bin, so let's change the file name into data4.gz since it's a gzip file. Click enter, click ls, and we see that we have data4.gz again, and we type in our command that we did previously, which is gzip-d for decompress, and then data4.gz. So bam. Okay, so let's click ls and let's start type ls, and now we can see that we have data4 finally here, and let's check if there are any more layers of compression. Okay, so it says POSIX tar archive, so we just need to tar decompress this, which is easy. We just type in tar -xvf and then data4. So the xvf parameter allows us to, or actually we need to make sure that, okay, cool. Okay, it does give us data5.bin, and let's check data5.bin. 5.bin POSIX. This sounds normal, but I guess there's more layers to go still. Pretty unfortunate, but let's go again. We already know that, so let's do tar xvf again, which we already did previously, and tar -xvf data5.bin. And okay, let's check data6.bin now to see if maybe this is different. Okay, well, it's bzip2 again, and we already did bzip2 before, so let's do the same process. So we're first change our file name, and we're gonna separate it from the previous one, which is data6. We're on data7 now, which is 7 layers. So I want to change the file name into bz2 and ls, make sure our file is there, and yep, we have our data7 here, and let's do our bzip2 decompress for data7.bz2. So okay, now we have this, and we want to check, let's check file data7, and it is another tar archive. So we can just quickly just do this, and by this time you guys should be getting the hang of these decompression, these different decompression tools. So you guys know the process. Basically decompress, do file to check if it's still compressed or needs more compression, and then use the respective tool that it tells you, which is tar archive. So we have data8.bin. Let's check data8.bin. .8.bin. gzip compress. Let's speed through that. So let's change the file name into data9.gz, and then let's gzip decompress that. Or sorry, data. Alright, let's ls to make sure it's still there. Okay, data9 is what we're looking at. Data9 is good. And let's file of data9. Yes, it's ASCII text, which means that it's finally in plain text, and that if we do this, we should have the flag. Awesome. So level 12, god, this level took a lot longer than I thought it would take, but bam, we finally got the flag. We just did like 9 layers of decompressing data, but cool. Sometimes you're gonna have to do what you gotta do in order to get the flag, or especially if you're actually a real hacker. A lot of it is tedious, a lot of it's trial and error, but yeah. Okay, now that we're in here, let's paste in our password and click enter. And let's see what it says for level 13, 14. So this is level 14 is going to be our, or level 13 to 14, which is the one we're around, is going to be our last one. So it says the password for the next level is stored in whatever this directory is. It can only be read by user bandit 14. So at this point, the level very clearly wants us to use a private SSH key. So let's do our first command, which is always ls, and we find that we have a SSH key.private. So I wouldn't, like, if I cat it right now, you probably won't even know what's going on, but this is basically the huge private key, which is encrypted in RSA, which is the algorithm that you use. So it says that we need to log on to the next level, bandit 14, and that can only be read. Okay, so we need to get to this password file, but it can only be read by this user. And right now, we're in bandit 13. So they give us a SSH key, and they want us to SSH into bandit 14 from this bandit 13. So we can actually do SSH bandit 14 at, and then it says you can use localhost, but I'm just going to use, we're going to just use the original one, bandit.labs.overthewire.org, and then our original command, which is just this, and yes, and bam, permission denied. Oh, sorry. Okay, so I forgot to this is public key because I actually did not use the private key file, so it should be just this ssh key dot private. And if this does not work, it's most likely because there's something wrong with the key, as Bandit's obviously a public website. But oh, bam, we're actually in. So, I mean, that's it. And if you guys, by the way, if you guys cannot SSH into from 13 to 14, it's probably because you're using localhost. Make sure you use the command that I exactly used. So the command that I used was using the original SSH information, which was this command just right over here. And make sure to do -I, which allows you to actually use your private key. Otherwise, it won't work, and it'll say permission denied public key. So the private key really just adds another level of security, which is very important. And so far, if you look over Bandit, we've covered 14 levels of it, which I think is enough to give you guys a good understanding of how everyday hacking processes work. Using Linux is very important to navigate around these new file systems. If you're a hacker or ethical hacker and you were to compromise a system, the first thing you're going to try to look around for is probably files and stuff, right? Different waypoints for you to get further into the system and access other parts that are important. So it's important to know how to navigate using commands like ls, using commands like find, and especially SSH, which obviously is a secure method that a lot of companies still use for their employees to get into like their servers. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and obviously this doesn't make you a fully experienced hacker. There's so many fields of cybersecurity that you need to or you probably should explore for fun. And so more stuff like network security for tutorials like Wireshark, which basically allows you to steal data over your network. More tools, and I have a lot of tutorials that will be coming out regarding on how to actually use these tools. So I hope you guys enjoyed this simple tutorial. I hope this basically got you kickstarted on your hacking journey, and it's only up to you right now of what you want to do for your next steps and which fields that you really want to deep dive into. If you guys want, I can do a tutorial covering the rest of the levels of Bandit, which get more complex and complex as it goes on. But hope you guys had a good time following along. And also, I have a website called hackblue.org. I teach all the all these basic hacking methods like Linux, using Kali Linux, a bunch of stuff. So it's on my screen right now. Also, link in the description if you guys want to check it out. I have tutorials on web hacking, like SQL injection, all this stuff. Network hacking, where you can do man-in-the-middle attacks, which you snoop on networks, you steal data using Wireshark, etc. Tons of different tutorials like social engineering, cryptography attacks that you guys should totally check out. And I think using this website would greatly aid your own hacking journeys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.